Hi everyone, and welcome back to episode 2, part 2, where we were talking about wellness, focus, and something that I like to call do not disturb. First off, talking about wellness, I think it's imperative to make sure that you have a steady sleep schedule. And now I know that it's almost impossible to get to bed at the exact same time every night, but you can kind of control your morning. So I always controlled making a wake-up time of 6 a.m. so that I could get up, do a little bit of exercise, and then get my day started. This also enabled me to slot in time in the morning to do my studies. So if I'm up from 6 and I'm waking up to do an exercise, then that means by 7 a.m. I'm already up and moving and alert and awake so that I can get in maybe a 30-minute power study session before an exam. So if you can control one of those variables, either your bedtime or your wake time, I do believe that that will really help you throughout a nursing program. The other thing I found very helpful is making sure that you are super hydrated. In nursing, you are usually sitting down at a desk all day studying, or if you're in clinical and you're on the floor, you are running. So it's very important to make sure that you are hydrating your body and keeping that system going. As you will learn in nursing, your body is made up of the majority of water, so hydration is a key point. Now to that, with caffeine, I actually learned this from my husband before going into exams. I used to have a shot of espresso, and he actually suggested that I didn't do that because the caffeine gets your heart rate going, it gets you kind of overstimulated, so it's really hard to focus. And when you do come to those inevitably challenging questions and you kind of get tripped up, if you have caffeine in your system for that exam, you're going to start feeling those pressures and that stress response. So I found that limiting my caffeine to 1 cup of coffee a day, and especially after an exam, sorry folks, I meant to say before the exam, really helped me throughout the program. Another thing with wellness is waking reflections. In nursing, you will do weekly reflections on your practice as a healthcare professional, but it's also important to do a reflection on how you're doing and touching base with yourself. So seeing, am I feeling rested? Am I feeling stressed? Do I have too much going on outside of nursing and within nursing? Do I need to communicate that to my partner or my friend? Doing those waking reflections really just helps you get centered and see how you're doing. And I'm not talking about a 20-minute thing in the morning. It's just 30 seconds of going over your day and going over how you're feeling. I've always done this throughout my life, and I find that it's just very centering before I get out of bed in the morning. The other part of that is journaling. I found it helpful to journal not only how things were going in nursing, but also to journal how I was doing. So like I just said, of doing kind of those mantras in your mind before you get out of bed. It helps to journal things down and then be able to look back at that. So you can look back at times in nursing when you were really feeling like you were dominating and everything was going well and you were really on top of your stuff. And if you're feeling super overwhelmed and behind in things, you can always look back at those journal entries and go, back in December I was feeling really, really good, and now in March I'm feeling super overwhelmed. And it helps to just look back at those entries and feel out what was going on. So you can always tell of like, oh, I was exercising well, I know that I was eating right, I was making sure that I was going for walks at nighttime. Those little tiny things can make a huge difference, and you can really get lost in the busyness of nursing if you don't have that written down. So journaling was something that definitely helped me. The other thing is stopping studying at a specific time. So I always stopped studying at 9 p.m. I did try to maintain a 9:30 bedtime. That did not always work for me. However, by stopping studying at 9 p.m., I knew that I had to prioritize my time. So I couldn't just kind of dilly-dally throughout the day and avoid studying and procrastinate until later, because I knew that I would have to be in bed by 9:30. So by shutting everything off at 9 o'clock, it also prevented me from going into those cramming sessions. And cramming sessions, I know a lot of people do that before exams and they try to get everything in. And if you push your brain to the point where you are overtired and you're trying to stuff in so much information, I find that you almost don't retain it. You do more of a disadvantage to yourself, because then you become overstressed of all of the things that you're now realizing that you don't know. So setting a proper bedtime where you are not studying after that really helps you just maintain those good study habits and hopefully avoid that cramming that comes up before exams. Really important thing with wellness that for me was bath time can be something different for everybody. So it could be a walk in the park, it could be a yoga class, or whatever floats your boat. For me, it was bath time. I loved having a bath. I would try to organize this for every Wednesday night where I would just draw a bath and hang out, listen to music, do not think about anything nursing for about half an hour and just have me time. It's really important to remember throughout nursing that it's a long program and you have to maintain a balance in your life. So try to find something that is really important to you where you can just carve out that time. And when you look at the grand scheme of things, half an hour is not a huge amount of time. It's not going to make you fail a class. It's important to make sure that you're giving back to yourself when you're taking so much energy and thought and time in nursing. The last part I'll mention about wellness is taking care of yourself. So for me, this meant making sure that I had my hair done, or that I had showered, that I had my makeup done, and I was dressing nicely. It is really easy to get caught up in falling behind in things that make you feel good because they do take time. So instead of, getting up and getting dressed, just throwing on some sweatpants and going, I just found that I wasn't feeling good about myself, and then sitting in class having a lack of confidence really did affect how I was going throughout my days and how much energy I had to attack my nursing. So making sure that I was being kind to myself and being good to myself and doing the things that made me feel good enabled me to just go stronger into every day. So whatever that is for you, I would strive to keep that up, even if it does take an extra 15 minutes out of your day. Now, talking about family. So family, this is a quick topic, but a very important one. For myself, I did realize that I got very overwhelmed with all of the things that were going on, nursing and otherwise, because like most people that are going through nursing, you have a lot of other things going on in your life. You have to take care of dogs or children or a household, and those things can stack up. So I found it important to communicate that with my husband and say, if you are noticing that I'm getting totally overwhelmed, have a conversation with me, and also be able to support me when I am having those breakdowns, because they will happen. So communicating that with your partner or your friend or your family, whoever is close to you, will really help you when things do get busy. So communicating all of those things about thresholds and how much you can really take on as a person going through nursing and managing your life kind of helps you avoid that breakdown and that burnout. So having someone kind of looking out for you, in my case, it was my husband saying, hey, you need to step away from things tonight. We just need to go for a walk, or we need to go and have a date night and do nothing related to nursing. At the time seems like the worst idea because you're not studying and you're not going forward and doing your nursing, but it's really, really important for your mental health to take a step away, realize that nursing school is just that. It's part of your life. It is not your entire life. So focus for me was putting my phone on Do Not Disturb when I was in classes. It helped me eliminate listening to those kind of not important texts. When you're getting texts from your friends about their day-to-day, it's not important that you take time away from a lecture, even if it's a 30-second glance at a text to see what's going on in somebody's life. It can really distract you from the material that you're there to be taking in. And when I say that, it kind of leads into my next topic of treating it like a job. If you are treating nursing school like a job, when you're in there for those 2 to 3 hour lectures, you are paying attention and you are not distracting yourself, just like you would at a job. Make the most of that time, because you are sitting in front of a live person or a virtual person that is teaching you, and you are going to be most able to absorb that information when you are there live. When you're reading things back and it's coming out of basically your own time when you're studying, it's a lot harder to focus. So for my personal experience, treating it like a job helped me to focus during the day and keep all of my electronics just off and not distracting me. And then I could get to those text messages at lunchtime, gave me something to do when I was eating my food, so I could just check everything and catch up. Now, the last thing in episode 2, part 2 is no social media. And I know this might be hard for a lot of people. For my personal experience with social media is I would kind of spend a lot of time just looking at stuff that wasn't valuable to me and wasn't helping me in nursing, but it was an excellent escape. It was an excellent way to just not have to think about nursing. So I realized this pretty early on, that I was taking a lot of time away from what I could be doing during class time and treating it like a job, and I ended up deleting my social media. I did not miss it throughout the years that I was going through nursing, and I had a blank Facebook account so that I could be part of nursing groups, but I didn't get stuck in all of that other stuff that was going on. This is total personal preference. For me, that was very valuable. For you, do whatever you can. If you're going to limit your time on social media, maybe that's what you're doing instead of deleting it altogether. So you know, take with that what you will. I hope that some of these tips helped you for the wellness, family focus, and the clinical and theory part of things. And I will see you guys coming up in episode 3. Bye!